Suikoden is what you would call your traditional JRPG. The original Suikoden was released in 1995, with the sequel having released in 1998 for the PlayStation. So these aren't new games, these are fairly old games, but they've been HD remastered for the next generation. Now, when we're talking HD remaster, they are still the pixel form that you love and cherish, but they've just updated the sprites, updated the world map and everything around it. It's just been a complete overhaul. If you look at what the game looks like originally compared to what it looks like now, there's a stark difference, and it's for the better. The game by and large has been unchanged. The game actually functions exactly the same way, down to the annoying inventory management of the first one, which they thankfully fixed in the second one. However, if you have been longing for a JRPG that just, is going to give you that traditional feel while you go through the game and enjoy it, this is going to be one of those that is actually going to surprise you if you haven't played it yet. It's a very good game. In fact, I'm really struggling currently to put it down. I'm about 10 hours in and I'm having an absolute blast. Now, there are a few gripes I have with the game. That's pretty much legacy issues that have been there from the very beginning. We're talking about the inventory system, which does somehow, you do kind of alleviate it a little bit when you get the storage in your base camp. Yes, you are going to get a base camp, which you can then recruit people. And this is the part that, well, I just generally don't like, building and stuff like that in video games. And this has a kind of really light version of it, but you can recruit up to a maximum of 108 players if you want to platinum the game, or 1,000 points the game, or, get the Steam points for the game. Yes, you heard that right. 108 people that you can recruit. And each one basically has their own, weaknesses and, strengths. And, they all kind of work in their own way. The good thing, however, is that you don't really need to engage with that part of the game if you really don't want to. You can stick with the, your main team and go throughout the whole game for the most part with that setup. Now, there will be certain missions where you have to take certain characters as part of the story, which means you can't really take your full team, and if they're under leveled, well, then that becomes a bit of a problem. Now, leveling up your characters is very easy, and leveling up your characters is pretty much as good as just going out and defeating your enemies. Now, one pro tip I will give you: as soon as you start the game, if you leave the starter city and go and fight your first enemy, you are going to get absolutely slaughtered. So you're saying, well, how am I supposed to level up? I know, right? But what you're supposed to do at the very beginning is have your front row, which are basically your DPS tanks, defend all the way, so they kind of soak the damage, and then your back row attackers take them out. At least until you get to around level 5 or 6, then you should start to have an easier time. By the time I moved over to the second town, I was like level 7, and this actually helped a lot in me being able to just move along and deal with the enemies in a much more comfortable fashion. The game itself is what you would expect from a game released in 1995 or 1998, depending on whether you're playing Suikoden 1 or 2. The footage you're seeing on screen is Suikoden 1. Suikoden 2, much like Suikoden 1, has had that complete HD overhaul, and it's for the better. The character sprites have been improved in terms of the portraits. So overall, when you compare the game to its original form compared to what it is now, this is pretty much the definitive way to actually play it. Now, if you're playing this game on Steam, one of the things that you will come across is the fact that when you kind of get to the title screen, the menus in the menu selections that you have is very limited, but also there's no real way to exit the game that I found personally outside of Alt F4, which is a little bit odd. Now, if there is a way, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know, because I genuinely couldn't find a way to actually exit the game, even in the options menu. But other than that, and the inventory system, and the whole recruiting, and the recruiting is a large part of the game, to be fair, and you'll see loads of people say it's worth talking to all the NPCs, especially ones that stand out, because they will generally want to join you. But yeah, the recruiting part is a big part, but you can really not pay too much attention to it if you don't really want to. But overall, this is probably the definitive way to play it, and everyone that I've personally spoken to that is playing it is having an absolute great time. And if you've been missing that itch to play a JRPG that basically, fills that void. And Suikoden is up there with the Legend of Mana games, the Pixel Remaster games, and the game overall is about 20 hours long for the first one. Second one is a little bit longer. They're not overly big games, which is what you would expect from those type of games in that era. If you want to 100% it with recruiting everyone and doing everything and getting every achievement, well, then that can possibly take you about 30 odd hours. But if you're just doing some of the side quests and playing through the main storyline, 20 hours is a pretty good number for you to be able to get through. Overall, I think this game is a really good game. If you're a fan of RPGs and you've never played this one, I can quite easily recommend this for you because it is so good. If you're a fan of RPGs and love your old school RPGs as well, Suikoden is definitely one that I feel a lot of people probably would have missed as they were growing up because of the style it is, or simply because of just how different it was to other JRPGs within its category, especially with the whole recruiting. And I know that some people would have jumped into it at the very beginning, got slaughtered by enemies and given up because they wouldn't have known really how to go about it. And let's face it, back then you didn't really have the internet to be able to go and search for it like I did, because I got stuck there too. I didn't really understand why I was getting slaughtered. But at the same time, the whole recruiting process would have probably been a mind-blowing situation. But, none of that really impacts the game, and the game itself is really fun. So if you're a JRPG fan, you love your old school JRPGs, Suikoden HD Remaster Part 1 and 2 is definitely one you want to pick up because I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. In terms of the overall game presentation and gameplay, what you're seeing here is essentially what you're going to get. You're going to run around the world map, get into new areas, go around. You're going to get into random battles before you get to a boss. The overall landscape isn't changing. There's no cutscenes or anything like that, but a story is told through a dialogue. There is no voices to the game, unfortunately. I kind of wish there was, being a HD remaster, but at least there's no waffle or padding in the game, which is probably why it's shorter than, most JRPGs, but that's a good thing. So that's my thoughts on this game. I like it. I recommend it. If you are a JRPG fan, go check this one out. Pick it up. You won't be disappointed. Alright folks, love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you've enjoyed this video, do consider hitting that thumbs up. Hit that red button to subscribe. Hit that bell to stay up to date with all content I release. If you've really enjoyed this video, you can hit that super thanks and I will give you a personal message of a thank you. Otherwise, if you want to support me even further, you can become a YouTube member and get content like this earlier than everyone else. But the simplest and easiest way to support me, to help me continue doing what I'm doing and continue my passion in trying to grow this channel, is hitting that like button and that red button to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.